we will talk about how to make a difference, because when we say effective presentations, the most important thing is how am I going to create an impact on people. And then three main topics are so important while preparing a presentation. The first one is the knowledge. Knowledge about your topic, knowledge about your audience, knowledge about your design. So we will try to get in detail about this firstly. And then the design phase. I think presenters are like architects. Do you agree this or not? Because you are like, like making a building. You're designing all your stuff, and it's not an easy thing. The third thing is how to make a connection between you and the audience, which is, I think, the essence of any effective presentation. And tips, as you mentioned, some tips about creating impact on stage, and then maybe I can answer if you have questions in mind. By the way, please stop me if you have any questions. So some presentations are really bad, some are good, some are very good. Can you give me a few tips about which ones are really good?
Usually presentations that involve the audience.
Yes. Yeah, when you're interacting with the audience. Sure. What else?
When we don't speak really much, but we say interesting things. So
Yes.
It's important for the audience.
Yeah. Yes, it's the power of words, right? When you give a great story, a short and great story, when you give the impact and when you see people's eyes are, yes, I believe in you, I believe this, yes, this is true. That moment is important. That's why we don't need too many words, but just stories to tell or examples, great examples to tell. More than 4 million presentations every day about everything, some business, sales, and sometimes you want to sell something, sometimes you want to convince something. 1 million presentations per hour around the world. But how can I really make a difference in all these? So I have a question for you. There are some topics here, like knowledge, like presentation style, stories, images, a catchy and wonderful video. Which one do you think makes the difference? Sorry?
Presentation style.
Presentation style? Knowledge.
About your audience.
Knowledge about your audience. Sorry? Stories. Yes, the speaker. These are, yes, sure, really important. Your knowledge. How are you presenting this topic? What kind of stories you have in the pocket? But it's you make the difference. I have an example for this. Think that we didn't start it to this presentation, and I came here, and I started like this. Good morning. And we will be talking about effective presentations today. So I want to learn if you have some expectations. So I will be happy if you can share your expectations with me. And effective presentations are really important to do. Okay, I will start. What do you think?
All the people snoring by the end.
But there is one thing which changed. I still have the knowledge. I still have the presentation style because this is lecture, obviously. I may still have some stories or a catchy video, but me as a person or as a presenter, I'm not on the stage. I'm not showing my presence to you as we talked about yesterday. Tone of voice, your charisma, your body language, or your impact on others. So you're not here literally. This is a picture of what you can create if you are not on stage exactly. By the way, yesterday I saw someone like this after all that parties. So, but okay, it's okay, but for the whole presentation, it's not okay to have people who are listening to you like this. Instead, we want to sell something, convince people for something, say something, create an impact when we are making a presentation. We don't want them to sleep. We just want to do one of these, to create an impact and be remarkable. Sometimes it seems easy. Steve Jobs, in this presentation, said nothing. What he did, he opened an envelope and he pulled out an iMac and he said, "This is our future." It was it. Seems easy, right? But it's not that much easy. Because it was a great product. It has a story behind. It was Steve Jobs. Then it's easy. But for us, while making some important presentations, it may not be that much easy. Why presentations suck? There's a research on that. I want to show you some findings. Motivation about your knowledge or design style, or your fear or anxiety, designing skills, structuring, storytelling, if it is audience related or not. There are many reasons. What do you think? Which one of these is the most important one? Motivation for what? To design or to do? Any other opinion? Delivery? Okay. I cannot say that this one is the most important one, because it's like a chair. Without one leg of a chair, it's not possible for you to sit down, right? Chairs has to have 4 legs. So all these topics are like legs of a chair. But of course, motivation is so important. Your delivery is so important. However, fear and anxiety really makes motivation suck. Because what happens, at least to me, what happened when I was 24 years old, I know my topic, I know my audience, I designed it, I think, perfectly. But when I came on the stage, I was thinking that I'm not enough, remembered yesterday, to do this, and my hands are like this. These are not mine, that the emotion is like this. Where should I put these hands? And my heart was beating. And why I'm saying this is normal, what people mostly fear from, dogs. This is in 9, it's in the 10th. 9, loneliness. Flying, 8. Death, 7. 6, cancer. 5, debt in the sea or ocean. 4, financial problems. 3, insects like snakes or some flying objects. 2, high ground. And 1, public speaking. And it's the end of a really valid and reliable research, and after too many data. People are saying that public speaking is my first fear, and it's coming before that, come on. It's coming before that, because we know that we don't know when we are going to die, but when it's about the public speaking, it's something really scary in our hands. So effective presentations, as I said before, related with the knowledge, your design, and your connection with your audience. In knowledge part, I will try to go through all the 3 topics. In knowledge, we have to know our audience, right? What are their cultural issues? What are their expectations? What are their possible things in mind, so that I can design after all this information? Why am I here is the best question that you have to ask before each presentation. This is the one thing that I'm doing before each training and each presentation, before preparing all the slides, before starting anything about the presentation. I ask to myself why I am here on that stage. So when you are okay with this answer, you are ready to go on. Then design. How do you plan your journeys? Remember your last journey or vacation to any place. How do you plan it? Spontaneously? Wow, it will not be working in presentations. Sometimes yes, if you're an expert on that, but it can be hard. But at least you know spontaneously you are going out and take it. Yes, I will take this plane and go to Kuala Lumpur. But at least you decide where to go, right? Firstly. No? Not? No. So you are going to just get on the plane.
Just the cheapest.
The cheapest flight. Okay. How do you design non-spontaneously journeys?
A great detail and lots of research.
Details and research. First, where am I going? The destination. How am I going to travel? Because from here to Sofia, you can bike, you can run, you can walk, you can, what was the name in English? Autostop? Huh?
Hitchhiking.
Okay, this one. And, or what else from here to Sofia?
Plane. Take a plane.
Take a plane. Okay, or by train. So there are many ways. When you think about your presentation, the point that you have to go is obvious, but how you are going to reach there can be different. So we have to plan all these details. And structuring information is the most important presentation skill. And you have to work on that like working in a gym, because it's a skill. You have to, or we all have to understand how to design all this stuff, because you have lots of information in mind. I should discuss about this, I should tell about this, I should use this story, I should use that video. But when you bring up all these topics in the basket, we have to know how to design and structure all of these. It's like building blocks of your story. So how we should design? Any ideas in mind right now? Remembering your first presentations or the presentations that you make, how are you designing your presentations?
Think about your audience first.
Thinking about your audience, and then the topic, and then
The story you have.
the stories, yes, the examples,
Also the time that you have.
the time that you have, yes. The simple approach to design a presentation is to divide it into units. It starts with the start. How am I going to start? How am I going to greet? How am I going to make them believe that it is worth to listen to this presentation? Because if you don't get their attention at the first part, probably they will not be listening you at the following parts. So the start is so important. How am I going to start and influence them? Then our message part begins, and then closure. Which part is missing in most of the presentations? What do you think? Closure? Yes. We don't give that much time to closure, to understand what went well, what should be better, what are the feedbacks, how people are going to use all this information. We are mostly skipping this part. This is a really important thing that I want to share with you. If you forget anything about my presentation today, please don't forget this one. And you can research this one on Google, and you can find lots of academic things about that. The model's name is format, and it says that we have 4 types of learners in every presentation. The first one is seeking for the meaning. Why this presentation or this topic is important. How many of you have children? Okay, 2. We are saying to our children that you should do this, you should wash this, you shouldn't do this kind of things, right? This is the what part that we are telling to our children, but they are insisting on doing the same thing again and again. Felipe discussed about millennials and Y generation yesterday. People just want to know, why should I do this? There is a video of Simon Sinek, how great leaders influence people, and it says the power of why is so important. People are seeking for why this is important. So you should be sure that you are answering the question of why in the presentation. The second one is what? Okay, I understand the why, but what? What should I do? What am I going to do? What is the information? What are you giving to me? The third part is show me part. How am I going to do this? So if it is a training or it is a presentation, they should understand how this is related with their daily lives. And the fourth part is if, because they are seeking for the possibilities. And so what? If I use this, what will happen? What will change in my life? What is the end result? So while designing our presentation, we should be answering these 4 things. Are we clear on that? Do you have any questions on this? Okay. So we are designing as a summary why, what, how, and if. Try to be clear, try to be simple, and design your stories. We have to think about our stories. Do you remember yesterday I discussed about unconscious incompetence and conscious competence? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember the story I used? Which one? What was the story? My husband, do you remember that? Yes, it's a story. If I explain it like this is conscious, this is unconscious, this is the competent, it does not stay in your heads. But if you have a story like my husband, and I'm angry with him, there is an emotion there because he's not driving well, it affects you somehow. And storytelling is a new skill that we are discussing in today's world. Even you're a leader or presenter or manager or a father, it doesn't matter. You have to have some stories to convince people. So I recommend you to have a little notebook that I want to show you mine. And it's always with me. Even in the bathroom, really. And this notebook, I've written, it's written inside the stories that I'm collecting. Stories about myself, stories about my experiences, stories about my failures, stories about the good things that I've done, stories about people around me, the emotional ones, the rational ones, and I'm trying to write everything in here so that when I have time in the traffic or in the sea bus, I'm just opening this, I'm reading my stories again and again. So this makes me, this helps me to remember all these stories all the time, so that it's in my head always, and I can bring it on the stage. And what about designing the message? This is an obvious thing that there's no need to sell. Wild imaginary, more imaginary, less text. Like 2 or 3 years before, people were talking about the end or the death of PowerPoint. How many of you believe that PowerPoints are, bless you, how many of you think that PowerPoints are dead, end of the PowerPoints? How many of you think like this? Okay. Now, the thing is you have to have something in here. You may use Prezi, you may use some other types of presentations, but PowerPoint is not dead, actually. We are still using it, but if you know how to use it with images that you find, with a flow in it, you still can use PowerPoint in an effective way, because it makes people to focus and to understand more. I'm dividing this into 2 things. Me as a presenter, my job is to touch your right brains, to the emotions, to your creative thinking part. Here, you should understand the rational part, so it should be working together. And the closure. What do you think we should do after presentations as a closure?
With a call to action.
Yes, and with a call to action. There was a sales presentation, it was 2 weeks before. They presented perfectly, believe me. I really like the things that they are presenting to me. But at the end, they said, thank you, and they leave. Come on, I was already impressed at that topic, and I was ready to sign everything that they give to me. But without the closure, they've gone. What else? Calling to action.
Q&A.
Q&A, yes, questions and answers. What else?
Summarize everything that you
Summarizing everything.
have an idea.
Yes, yes. Summarizing everything.
Showing your contacts or information.
Yes, showing the information. But the idea is, please think about your closure. because we are just focusing on the key messages, but we are skipping that closure part. But it is also important. And when you are on stage, now we discussed about the knowledge, we discussed about the design, and let's come to the connection part. Make an emotional connection with the audience, with your stories, with your eye contact, with your examples, with your vulnerability. I really admire presenters who are discussing about their faults. Sometimes there are some difficult participants who are asking really hard questions, and I admire presentations who says on the stage, I really don't know the answer. And this is now, again, an emotional connection. Find ways to emotionally connect with the people and try to convince them not just with their brain, but also with their hearts. Do you remember the presentation yesterday about the social tea house?
Yes.
How was it?
Emotional.
Not just because of the topic itself. Why was it emotional?
The passion of the presenter.
The passion of the presenter. I was sitting here and I'm really impressed how she is defending the social tea house and how she is living it inside. I'm still like this. It's the passion who is coming to our hearts, and we love the topic. What is it? Doesn't matter. It can be finance, believe me. And put your presence on stage. We discussed about this yesterday. So self as a person, choose to shine, choose to show yourself, your voice and volume, your physical appearance, your facial expressions, general body movement. Sometimes we are not aware that this body is ours, but we should be aware that we are carrying this body on stage. So people are watching you on that part. In JCI presenter or JCI trainer, I think in one of those presentations, there's one thing about these hands. It says that if you are speaking with a small audience, you can use your hands like this, global warning. If you're speaking with a more, bigger audience, you can use like this from here. Not this, but this, global warming. If you're on stage with 3,000 people, you have to show yourself bigger. So choose your body language consciously. And if you're excited about what you say, people will get this passion, truly. So I know it's not easy to be here because of the fear of public speaking, but being vulnerable is important. If you are that much excited, you can say that I'm excited right now because this topic is important for me. So you are vulnerable at that point, you are open, and you are telling the truth to your people. We want everybody to watch us like this, right? Ooh. And when you are on stage, by the way, read this book if you haven't. The Psychology of Influence of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini. In this book, it's talking about how to convince people, and there are 4 points which are related with the presentations. Use social proofs to convince people. Numbers, data. Felipe is using this product. Oh, okay, then if he's using this product, I can too. Kind of social proofs are important. Power of expertise. Sometimes presenters do this topic. Oops, I shouldn't say this. Oops, I shouldn't do this. But believe me that they are not aware of your faults at that moment. So forget about what they are thinking of you, but just focus on your flow. And empathy, how they are feeling right now. Are they sleepy? Are they okay? Are they feeling right? Am I on the right track? And openness and vulnerability, of course, is the important thing. And your I can is more important than your presentation skills, I think. Because when you believe that I can do it, you do it. I want to try an exercise. Can you stand up for a while? I will be showing you how to do this. Maybe you know the exercise. Put your fingers like this. Okay. I want you to turn, without moving your body, I want you to turn like this as far as you can. And when you find the last point, just remember it. Okay, put a point, mark there. It's your last place that you can turn without moving your body. Okay? Everyone's okay? You know where is it? Okay, then turn back here to me. Okay. Now close your eyes. And now think about this. Think about that point that you have just gone. And please say yourself that I can do better. I can do better. I can move more after this point, and I'm going to do this. Are you ready? Are you going to do this? Okay, now try once more. What far away will you go now? More or the same? More? Can I see the hands who has gone more? Okay. Our subconscious mind, thank you. Our subconscious mind is not that much smart. And he believes everything we say to him. Even in just 1 second, if you say your subconscious mind that I can, and if you really believe it, you turn and you do more. So please say yourself that I can before all your presentations. And this is the last but the most important point that we should be discussing, some difficult situations that we have in our presentations. What will happen if you have a talker in the class or in the room or in the presentation? What should we do? Ignore? Politely interrupt?
Involve him in the presentation.
Involve? He's already talking if I after involve.
That's exactly why.
Beat him in front of everybody.
Move around the room and close to the person. What else? You said something, right?
Beat him in front of everybody.
Beat him in front of everybody, okay. Ask him a question, okay. I think what I mostly use is politely interrupting if it is too much. You can say in a polite way that I really appreciate your ideas on this, but I have to discuss some things a little bit more, but I will be happy to discuss this with you during the break. Is that okay for you? If he understands, yes. If he doesn't understand, bite can be any other option. What about the quiet one? You're asking questions, you are trying to, get in, but he's quiet. But he's an important person and you want to convince him. What should we do?
Beating is always an option.
Beating, again, an option.
You're a good presenter.
So much violence.
What should we do?
If you see a person that he is very engaged with, he doesn't participate, you can just just go a bit forward. You don't have to say anything. At one point he will just feel a bit more confident because he can see it and can engage.
Yes, can be. What else?
Ask for his her opinion.
Ask for the opinion. Yes, definitely. There's, I think, 2 things which is important. The first thing is to understand why he is quiet. Maybe he has a headache. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe he doesn't like it. I don't know. But first we have to try to understand with the facial expressions or the eye contact if he's in or not. There are people in this room who has said nothing from the beginning, but I know they are listening. So it doesn't matter quite talkative or not, but we first have to understand the reason. And then we may, 2 things. If he wants to talk but he's shy, we can call the name, because people are happy when they are feeling their names. We can go near him and try to individually connect, or just let him live like that, because we are afraid of introverts mostly. people should be talkative, people should ask questions, but people are not the same. Some people are learning in an introvert way. So they don't want to talk, but they just want to observe. So we shouldn't push everyone to be talkative. The fighter. I don't know, it was like 2 years before I had a fighter in one of my presentations, and whatever I said, he was like, oh, no. And he was saying something on the defense. He was saying, no, this is not this is not true. What can you do?
You can just say, okay, can you please explain your perspective?
Yes.
Just tell the audience.
Yes.
What do you think? And after that, you can, if you don't agree, say, does everybody agree?
And destroy.
Do you agree with that? And then at one point, you just shut up.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, yeah. It's again, we should understand the reason. I am doing presentations every day, but I see lots of reasons behind all this fight. Ego problems. I don't want this organization, but I cannot say this to my boss, and I will be attacking you. You know, it's reflection of the anger. Or I don't want to be here, and I don't have any option. That's why I'm going to use you. We first have to understand the reason why this people is fighting with me right now. We have to try to manage our feelings and emotions, and then we can openly and vulnerably ask, what's the problem? Can I support you in this? I see you in the presentation that you are against lots of topics. What do you have in mind? Can I have a coffee with you? Kind of things are maybe helpful. And the individualist, you are trying to engage people, but she is sitting over there all by herself. Again, the reason why, because of shyness, because of she's not okay. When we understand the reason about difficult situations, it's more easy to solve. Okay. These are my things that I wanted to share with you. But I am open to, if you have time, I don't know the time right now, but
yeah, we have
for some
enough time for Q&A.
questions and answers. Have in mind some questions, some difficult situations? Yeah.
Yes, for example, if I'm some kind of, for example, if I'm the fighter, how would you actually know what's my problem? How would you understand why you're taking the action?
Of course, it's not so easy to understand in 5 or 10 minutes what's the problem in that, but when you get experienced, you understand from the words that they use, with what kind of topic she's fighting with, directed to you, or the organization, or the topic that you're discussing. This is one way. The second way is you can ask. May I ask you one open question? And I observe you that you're doing this, and I want you to be on this, and I want to know your reasons. So can you please share with me? Can be an example for that. Okay. Any more questions? So, no. Am I that much clear? Good. Let's make a summary. What did we discuss about the 3 things? The first one was knowledge. What we should know. Audience, topic. What else? Purpose. Yes, purpose and expectations. The second one was design. Designing like a building, like an architect. How we should design in a simple and clear way that we should keep in mind. And the third thing was connection. Connection with the people, and of course closure in the design part. How to connect with people in an emotional way. My experience in presentations is you have to love it if you want to do it in a nice way. Because if you love being on stage, it somehow works. So people understand that that you are in this, your heart is in this, your brain is in this, and you love being on stage. If you don't love, but you have to practice, I'm sorry, you have to go to the gym. It's something like this. You know, you have to work on that skill. But if you love being on stage, it's more easy. Thank you for listening to me. And if you have any more questions, I'm all around today. Thank you.